Hey, Mike from Fulcrum here. It's been another one of those typical Eastern Ontario mid-April days. Overcast, rainy this morning, then snow. Then the sun comes out, but with quite a wind, and the wind dies down, and now it's quite nice. I thought I'd get out and about. We have a jazz festival going on in town this weekend, a lot of live events going on. And this one cafe I go to has a jam session where most of the performers all get together and jam. Some of them don't even know one another, but they put on a show, and it's all for free. So you can go and have a coffee, something to eat, and something to do for the afternoon. I get in there and looked around. It was quite a shock. Now, I've noticed this trend in the last 5 years or so, but this last couple, it's increased dramatically. What I've noticed is the demographic. I walked in, and I don't think there was anybody in there under 60. A lot of them in their 70s, including the musicians. I know a similar thing last night when my daughter and I went out to grab dinner. There was also a piano player there. And looking around, it was much the same thing. I didn't see anyone under 55. There was no real mix of families like you used to see where there'd be grandma, grandpa, the parents, and the kids out together. It was all groups of older people. Now, if I was an owner of a restaurant or an entertainment venue, I'd be seriously thinking about putting for sale sign on the property because this is an alarming trend. The only group right now that has the wherewithal to go and do these things, it seems, are pretty much the seniors, the ones that were lucky enough to pay off their house, manage to squirrel away some money in the RSP, and maybe have a company pension plus their government pension coming in. The bills are pretty much paid. So they can afford to go out to dinner a couple nights a week, drop a couple $100, maybe grab a couple glasses of wine and dinner, and take in a live event. The generations coming up, though, are not in that position. People in their 30s can't afford to buy a house. Some of them are actually living in their parents' basement, trying to save up enough cash for a down payment, or maybe they've lost their job. AI's come in and eliminated a lot of jobs that used to be solid. Like, for example, I remember it wasn't that long ago, we're telling everybody to learn to code because that was the way of the future. Now you got all the people that learn to code being laid off due to AI, and AI and the ones that remain are doing all the coding. A lot of white-collar jobs we thought would have been solid, and even further ones up. You have law offices, doctors, anything like that. Jobs are going away. Blue-collar jobs are going to be looked at as some kind of safe zone for the time being, but the problem is, if there's no new generations coming up building anything, what jobs are going to be available for all these people that are actually doing the blue-collar jobs other than maintenance and repair? The demand simply won't be there. The current trend as it goes, even with mass immigration, if people we bring in are not of the talents that are required for the country, are just going to be more people that are going to be needing social services and not a net benefit to the population or the country itself. So what we're going to see is a retraction. It's already evident in some formerly industrial cities they now call the Rust Belt, particularly in the States. For example, we have Detroit. Detroit now has more green space around it than it did in the 1920s. So some areas used to be suburbia that have deers and wolves moving back in because hundreds of acres of what used to be old-style World War II, post-war suburbia has been bulldozed flat as entire communities moved out when all the factories shut down in the automotive industry and all the supporting industries as well. The houses that do remain are all burned out, long since looted for their aluminum, copper, and whatever metal could be scrapped out of them. This isn't a very alarming trend. Where this goes is anyone's guess. The population crisis that used to be on everyone's lips about overpopulation and standing room only and people starving to death, it's going to be going the other way. Western nations for some time now have not been anywhere near a replacement population. And this doesn't bode well. Without an increase of population, it means that there's a smaller tax base and that everything will have to contract. Cities, towns, and villages will contract. Those without any income sources, factory jobs, or other infrastructure are going to disappear. Cities themselves will contract. We'll have large areas where the lights will go out, the power will be turned off, and the sewers will be turned off. Anything that's not immediately used is going to be shut down. This is all going to happen within the next 10 years or so as this baby boom generation goes through this big python as a meal in the middle. I'm part of that boomer generation. We pushed through a whole new society of consumerism as we came up as a huge group, coming through colleges, getting our degrees, getting jobs, buying houses, bigger houses, newer cars, cottages, boats, motors. Now we're through all that. The kids are launched, downsizing. We're going to have huge swathes of real estate that no one will be able to afford to buy. We're seeing it now. Prices will drop, and there won't be anyone supporting coming in. So what does this mean? Well, it might be a good thing in disguise. It will force people and communities to slow down and step back a bit and realize what really is important. Family, friends, and your community. If any of them are to survive, we're all going to have to work together on this. It's going to take a while for these things to shift. History is full of other examples of this. We've seen empires rise and fall. A lot of them last less than 150 years from bust to boom and echo. Usually something arises out of the ashes, something different, usually something better. We might even see more of a greening of the world again as populations drop around the world. But what can we do about all this? On a large level, not much. Most of us aren't in a position to be talking to presidents, vice presidents, prime ministers, and politicians of the world. I don't know anyone that's a member of the World Economic Forum or the Bilderberg Group. If they are, they certainly haven't told me. So what do we do? Well, all we can do is be community-oriented, because when things do break down, it comes to the point where your local community is the only place that you can provide any support and make any positive changes. Get involved in local government, get involved in local causes that support local issues. It's the best you can do. So going forward, if you can, support live venues if you like live music. Support smaller cafes and local restaurants. I, as a rule, avoid any commercial franchise places that shall go unnamed so I don't get sued. I have no interest in padding the pocketbooks of big corporations that basically own everything and have been basically feeding us poison for years, unbeknownst to us. Whole food pyramids have been set up that are actually inverse of what's actually good for you. So in the end of it all you can do is basically look out for you and yours and your loved ones. What am I going to do? Well, right now, I'm going to fire the car up and I'm going to grab a coffee and a donut. Not from the drive-thru. Local farmers market to make the world's best cinnamon old-fashioned donuts in the world. Hopefully I'll get there in time so there's still a couple left. Anyway, in closing, breathe deep, think clearly, enjoy each day, and support your local businesses and community.